Year One family. I am happy to sit here with Joanne Romano from Romano's Vineyard and Winery. Did I get it?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And she and her husband Joe, which I think is cute that I never said this to you before, that you are Joanne and he is Joe, run Romano's Vineyard in Brandywine, Maryland, a favorite part of the state that I love in Prince George's County. So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome for being here, and thank you for participating in the series.
Absolutely.
So can you tell people about yourself and how you got started?
Sure. Oh, that's an interesting story. So as you mentioned, my husband and I opened up the winery. We the field behind us, it was just a field instead of a vineyard, and our daughters were moving out of the house. They were moving on. And so instead of having someone else farm the property for us, we kind of had that notion that we might have some extra time.
Okay.
Not attending sporting events and taking care of the girls and where they needed to go. So we thought, well, let's just investigate and see what maybe we could do ourselves with this little bit of extra time that we are going to have. And so we did a little bit of research. We have bees, so we thought, well, maybe we'll plant some wildflowers that the bees could forage on. And then kind of second thought, that would really we'd have a lot of bees in this area.
Right.
Neighbors might not be quite so happy. I get that there's a decline in the bee population and their pollinators, but that would be a little extreme.
Yes, exactly.
So more research led us to grapes. Then we did that really hard market research of going around to the wineries and trying wine.
Right.
And trying to find out what it is that they need for production and what does well and what doesn't do well, and learning about the soils. And so we found a grant to grow the grapes.
Okay.
And it was all part of kind of the tail end of the tobacco buyout, trying to find something that farmers could use their infrastructure for. So we applied and received the grant, which helped pay for part of the grapes. So initially we went into this just thinking we were going to grow. Yeah, let's grow these grapes and we'll sell them to wineries around that really need them. And about 2 years into every evening after work of training the vines, and as my daughters jokingly said, that I would crochet hats for them and name them because that's how much time I spent with them, literally. We thought, well, maybe we're just going to do this. Let's look into doing this ourselves and putting the fruits of our labor into the bottle, so to speak. So here we are.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So were you a part of the cooperative with the port at one time?
Initially.
Initially were? Okay.
Yeah, before, we were just in that bylaw stage where it was just in development.
Okay.
And for us, again, looking back, and at that time going, we need to harvest, we need to get down there to get the delivery made timely, with what we have. Not compromising the fruit with that drive, the coordination and everything else. For us, it was really more a distance issue.
Right.
It's a great idea, and we were thrilled and proud to have been part of that in the very beginning. But just again, looking at it from a logistics standpoint,
a challenge.
Yeah, it would have been challenging.
It is a challenge.
So so that's kind of those were kind of all those things that we took into consideration in making the decision to move on to doing the winery as well.
Wow. And for those who are not familiar, we're talking about the cooperative with the Port of Leonardtown.
Yes, it's a Southern Maryland Grape Growers co-op. Right. So I'm not sure how many members strong they are now, but yeah, it started off as the members who were all part of that grant process. And a great idea. It's a wonderful concept, and they've been really successful.
Yeah. It presents its own challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely presents its own challenges. Well, how long have you guys been here?
So the vineyard, which is behind us, was our the original vineyard, and we planted in 2007.
Okay.
The winery itself, we opened in 2011, and that was out of our house.
I remember. I remember bringing groups there and
Small groups.
Yeah, and they initially they were like, "Is this okay?" And then the next thing you know, they were like, "I want to be on the porch or
Right.
the patio."
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, ladies, you're a little too comfortable and familiar here. It's time
Right.
to go. But yeah, it was great. It was very quaint and it was extremely intimate. And I think the groups liked it. I really think they liked it.
We got, we did. We got some feedback when we started letting folks know that the building was going to be ready soon to open for tastings. We moved the production down here in 2012, but we didn't move tastings down here until the fall of 14. And so, trying to prepare everyone that, hey, maybe the next time
Right.
you come, you won't have to go to the house. We'll be down in the actual tasting room. And some of the customers that we had were like, "But we like it up here." So, it was heartwarming to hear that.
Yeah.
Some of them asked, "Well, is it gonna be decorated like it is up here?" So that was kind of cool to hear.
Well, wine builds a connection.
Right.
And you definitely, inviting people into your home I think is very brave. And because I'm not saying any of the Vino 301 people are a little odd, but there are some odd
It can be
birds out
scary.
there.
Yeah.
But then you build that connection and you build that trust, and people are having wine and they're sharing, and so it does become a very intimate experience that you don't get at other tasting rooms. And so when it's taken away, you do miss it.
Yeah. And we still, customers come in and they're like, "Yeah, I remember when we were in your living room." So yeah, it's kind of neat.
That is something else. So you still work full time,
I do.
and you do this full time, and you sleep every other weekend. Is that
Sort
where
of.
do you find
Yeah,
the energy?
Exactly like that. Well, I think it is part of that. It is what feeds the energy.
Right.
The vineyard to me is a massive zen zone. I'll tell
That's
anybody
great.
that. So yeah, after 8 hours of office work, I get to come home and play.
That's
outside.
nice. That's nice.
And that's how I look at it. I like being outside. So the fact that I'm inside all day for my job,
Okay.
and I know that at the end of the day, of course when it's nice out, that I can come home and spend another 3 hours outside just unwinding. It's not hard to sleep.
That's good, because there's a lot of people. I'm quite sure you see this. They come here and they fall in love with the concept of wine and owning a vineyard, and they say, "Oh, I'll do this when I retire." So, what do you want to tell those people when they say that?
I encourage them
Good.
to come out to the winery and to the vineyard and spend a day with me.
And then see if they have
And
the
see-
same opinion
right.
afterwards.
If you want to come out every Sunday and work in the vineyard with me for a couple of hours, I welcome you
So
to come
you
out.
hear that? People who are thinking about this as their second career, please come out, give Joanne a call, and she's welcome to have
Absolutely.
the help.
Yeah. And why not check it out first and see
Yes.
if this is really what you want to do.
Yeah, I like to see the before and after when people come and do that.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
The excitement when they're here,
Right,
and then
right.
they're not so excited when they leave.
Or their back is a little sore.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not hard work, but it is labor intensive.
It is.
It's all by
Very-
hand.
It is.
We do everything by hand. Nothing is mechanized.
I
So-
think, and some people think about that because they see the large vineyards in California and think, no, it's all, which is great. It is an artisan type of process from start to finish.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything's done by hand. Our hands are on every grape that goes in the bottle in one way or another.
I think, which is great. It is great. So you're no longer the new kids on the block. Isn't
No.
that kind of odd to say that now?
It is, yeah. After almost 6 years,
Yes.
2011, and most of them are celebrating their second and a half anniversary. Yeah, so it's been exciting.
It has.
Yeah, and it was nice to be able to get the trail formed and have an official name for the trail and do some trail events and let people know that there is a destination, a wine destination in Prince George's County.
Yes. Which I think is great. So it's the Legacy Trail, if anybody's looking it up, and it includes Romano's, Jiminy, Jane Mark, and Robin Hill. And the great thing about your trail compared to others is that you guys are in close proximity to one another.
We are.
So you're able to go to all of the vineyards. And when you have trail events, then no one misses out. So
Right.
that's
Yeah, it's
that's a
easy
really
to
good
do
thing.
in a day. And we, extend our hours when we do the trail events so that folks can make it to all four of us.
Yeah.
And it's spread out enough that, you don't have to rush. You can take
Right,
your time.
exactly.
And not, think that you're going to miss out. There's plenty of time to get to each of the four wineries.
Yeah. So did you, looking back on it now, did you see that because you guys were out here by yourself for a while?
No. Part of our whole process was that we had to have laws, regulations,
Right, exactly.
legislation changed because we couldn't open up the winery. Once we decided, hey, let's
Yes,
do this.
yes.
Well, we couldn't do it. So we had to work with county council, park and planning, who were all very, very supportive of us, and get those laws, legislation changed so that we could open up the winery. So yeah, did we ever envision that there would be four in the area? No. Did we hope that there'd be at least another one?
Right.
Absolutely. So that there was something else for folks to do when
Right.
they came and not, just visiting us. And of course, when folks came to visit us, being the only one, we made sure, and I think we still do, how much we appreciate just the fact
Right.
that they took the time to come out of their way. Because when there is only one, when we were the only one, we were off the beaten path
Yeah.
for most people. So they had to make an extra effort to work that into their day.
Right.
But I feel that we still carry that appreciation and gratefulness
so.
over, even now that we're down here, in a bigger space and that there's more, there's four of us now.
Yeah.
We're still grateful that people come out because it just means a lot to us that, someone's going to take time out of their day
Yeah.
to come by and visit us. And that's how we look at it.
That's great. So where do you see Maryland wine going in the future?
I feel that there's been huge leaps and bounds with wine throughout the state.
Right.
With different awards from different competitions, international competitions, that wineries are receiving awards for their wines. And I think that says a lot.
It does.
Things take a while to grow. And I think that Maryland has begun to kind of show what we have to offer, against Virginia,
Right.
who is, right next door. So with the industry itself growing, with more wineries coming on board and quality wines coming out of them, award-winning wines, and wines that satisfy a lot of different palates.
It does, yeah.
I think that in and of itself speaks for the industry. And I just see it continuing to grow and more people becoming interested in just the activity of going out and doing wine tasting.
I think so too. There have been and continue to be the discussion about millennials and drinking wine, and I think it's an evolution. I didn't drink very nice wine when I was in college, and actually I don't think I drank too much wine. So I think it's an evolution of your palate, and wine will always be around. I don't think it's one of those things that it will go out of style. It will always be there. And it is dynamic and it'll change. And I think wine you have to have peace. I think it'll continue to grow. I think just like with everything, there will be new facets of wine and winemaking and innovation. But it's one of those things where you just don't mess with it.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is, right. The beauty of the smaller wineries, smaller vineyards, when you spoke about those nuances of wine,
Right.
people begin to understand that they're just not going to a retail location and purchasing something off the shelf that it doesn't have that personal touch, I guess is maybe what I want to say.
Right.
You'll find nuances in our wines from year to year, just because of what you see behind us, the
Right,
vineyard.
right.
It's going to bring different character to the wines, depending on what type of year we have, a dry year, a wet year, a hot year, a cooler year. And those differences with smaller batches of wine become a little more evident.
Yes.
So that makes it, interesting in and of itself, is how that wine changes from year to year, based on what type of conditions we had.
Right.
And how the winemaker might want to change that style.
Exactly.
They may want
Right.
to introduce a different style, maybe with the same grapes that you've had, that you've grown, that
Right.
you've used, but just, create a different style of wine. So those things always change.
Right.
And I think that people also appreciate with the size and the family connection that they know what's behind their wine.
Yes.
Right, they know what's going into the bottle. They can see it. They can talk to folks in the tasting room who are just as passionate about it.
I agree.
And understand what it takes to get that wine, that grape from the vine into the bottle, and then that process behind it. So I think those interactions also begin to build a level of trust, but also an experience
I agree.
that
yeah.
they look for.
And I think that's the beauty of Maryland wine, is because you get the experience. It's not overly manufactured.
Right.
Where you never meet the winemaker, you never meet the people there. That personal connection between the two is nice.
Yeah.
So we were just talking before we went on camera about Judy Crow, who is the president of the Maryland Wine Association, and she's the first female president. Is she the
I'm
first?
gonna say yes.
Okay, which is a big deal. I think
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a big deal. And so, where do you see women in wine in Maryland in the future?
Definitely growing. A lot of different roles that women have, from vineyard manager, which what I do here. I take care of the vineyard primarily. Tasting room is also a key point. We've got female winemakers, consultants. There's no limit.
Right.
To where women can go in the industry at all, and there's nothing holding anybody back from achieving whatever it is that they want to achieve.
Right.
There isn't. I don't find that there's a male domination, that there's a ceiling that women can't go beyond at all. I don't find that.
Yeah, I think Maryland is very progressive compared to West Coast. I think historically, because it's mostly been the men that have been pushed out on the West Coast, but Maryland is, establishing their own drumbeat.
Right.
And there are a lot of women who are co-owners or owners here that you see more in this region than you do in other regions. So I agree with you. There's so many opportunities, and the great thing is even though the industry has been around for a while, it's still very young comparatively. And so
Absolutely.
you can establish where you want to be, and there's no rules to say,
well, look at you.
You're limited.
I mean, you're in the wine industry too.
Right.
Who would have thought we would have had
exactly. I wouldn't have thought it, quite honestly.
Right. So if you if there's something, if you want to do it, you need to do it.
Yes.
You need to take that step and do it. Nobody's holding you back.
Right.
So it's up to you. If that's where you want to go, then go for it.
Yeah, I think just you guys are a prime example of there weren't rules there, so let me establish the rules. And I think that is the biggest lesson to take away, is just because something isn't there doesn't mean it can't be there.
Right.
You just need to get to yes.
Exactly.
And you needed to help a lot of people get to yes.
We did. Yeah, we did. It was educating obviously ourselves.
Right.
I didn't know we couldn't have a winery.
Right.
What do you mean we can't do
Right,
this?
right.
And then it's it's educating those that needed to help us
Yes.
with those rules. Make new ones.
Right. Exactly. So I've been asking everyone, and I know it's a hard question because you have to choose between your favorites and your children. What's your favorite, not your favorite child, but what's your favorite wine here at Romano's?
Traminette.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
That
And
is
I don't. I like the wine, but I am so proud and excited about the Traminette because it has been so difficult for me to manage that vine.
You're like, yes,
And
I did it.
yes, and and we got it. We got it there, and we were able to do it as a varietal. So it's our first from our vineyard.
Wow.
Right. A state vineyard, a state grape varietal. And when the first year when we did that in 2016, I was like, yes, I got it there.
That is
So
great.
it took me a long time to figure that vine out. It is a very tricky little vine.
It is a tricky little
She's
vine.
pretty persnickety. Yes. So yes, I felt a great sense of accomplishment.
Great. So when you come to Romano's, you have to try the Traminette.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, you have to try that, and then give Joanne a pat on the back when you see her.
I must say though, it is followed by Chambersound. Which
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? I like yours. I like it. It's the great thing about it is so versatile in the style that you can go to 16 different wineries and have it
get
16
exactly.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just a wonderful grape to work with in the vineyard too. It's just very easy. It feels very natural.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, it does amazingly well in this area.
Yeah.
So last question, what should people expect from Romano's this year?
What should they expect from Romanos this year? Wow, good question. So, we'll roll out a couple of new wines, a couple of new styles. And of course, we always enjoy our Friday nights when we do those during the summer. So, the music and the food trucks are always very popular. So definitely we're continuing those. We get a lot of people who just can't wait for that to come up. And a lot of evening events for people to come out and do some fun things at the winery.
And you have other vendors here, so
We do, absolutely. Yeah, we really try to reach out and support local small businesses.
Right.
So we have folks who come out, they're cottage businesses, so they may do baked goods, they may do some other kind of treats and whatnot. We've had folks out with soaps, we've had folks out with lotions. We encourage that. That's what we did, and we want to be able to pay it forward and have people come out, and let other folks know that they're here.
That's good. That's so awesome.
Yeah, so we enjoy that part of it.